With free update 1.15, we got these amazing new viewing domes in Planet Zoo, which you can use above ground and underwater. In this tutorial, I will show you how to place them down, what to pay attention to when placing them, and some other tips and tricks. Hey everyone, my name is DeLady Designer, and thank you so much for tuning into this new Planet Zoo tutorial. If you like this tutorial, then please consider to leave a like at this video, and also definitely make sure to check out all other Planet Zoo tutorials I have on the channel. Now let's get started. Now placing down a viewing dome is simple. When you have a fence around your habitat, you simply place a viewing dome entrance at the edge of it, just like you do with a habitat gate, and then you put one or more viewing domes wherever you want them to be. Now keep in mind that, just like with your other enrichment items, the terrain will adjust to the viewing dome. But when having these collision game settings turned on, you will be able to change the terrain after placing the dome again. So far so good. But there are a few obstacles you can run into when placing these viewing domes. With the first one being fences. You will notice you are not able to place a viewing dome close to a fence. You can avoid this by simply pausing your game, removing the fence, placing down the dome, and then put back the fence. The second one comes down to your path. Just like with the fencing, you are not able to put a viewing dome close to a path, where you most likely also have a fence nearby. So by removing your path and a fence, if this is also nearby, then putting down the viewing dome and then putting back your path and fencing, you are able to put the viewing dome wherever you want it to be. And the third obstacle you can run into are your enrichment items and hay beddings. So keep in mind that you will have to remove all of these type of items before you are able to put down the viewing dome. After you place your viewing dome, you can put back all your enrichment items again and your hay beddings if you want to. Now, obviously, you want to place your viewing domes underwater as well. So just like when placing a viewing dome above the ground, you will need to keep in mind enrichment items. So make sure to remove any underwater toys and feeders, and then also make sure to remove the water. You will not be able to place a viewing dome with water, and you will also need to make sure the water is deep enough so the viewing dome is covered by water when placing back the water. So these are pretty much all the basics when placing down the viewing domes in your new habitats, and I highly recommend making sure to have an idea first where you want to place the viewing dome entrance, because it is pretty big, and where you want to place the dome, so you can keep this in mind when building your habitat, and preferably add the viewing domes as soon as possible so you don't have to deal with the terrain too much. So as I said in the beginning of this video, when having the collision game settings turned on, you are able to adjust the terrain after placing the viewing dome. So you could also decide to raise the viewing dome for your guests to get on an eye level of some of your bigger animals, like for example elephants or rhinos. You can simply just click the viewing dome and use the advanced move tool to raise it, and then use the terraforming tool to lower and flatten the terrain again. And since the viewing dome is so easy to move and use, you are even able to raise it higher up in the air to maybe, for example, let it stick out of a roof or like a building for a habitat with monkeys and primates, for example, when they are climbing in their climbing frames, to really let the guests see them from a completely different viewing point instead of standing on the ground. Despite the viewing dome entrance being so big, I actually was surprised how easy it was to hide it, for example in my tropical franchise mode, like if you really don't want to see the entrance. So the following examples are obviously just some tests here without paying attention to how it looks, how the guests enter the viewing domes, but just to give you all an idea of how easy it was to add them and to give some ideas of how you can hide them. So for this meerkat habitat, I just placed it inside of these rock formations and connected the fence from the habitat to it. It was as simple as that. So as long as you have a building or a rock formation that is 4 meters high, you can pretty easily hide these big entrances. But you could also decide to just put the entrance a lot further away. So here at the Indian elephant habitat, I just placed the entrance all the way in the bushes and the trees and simply connected the habitat fences from there. And here I did the same for the gorilla habitat by just hiding the entrance in between the rocks. Like, because the entrance is just a black box and the guests appear in the viewing domes, You really have the complete freedom where you hide your entrance if you want to hide it. So I do really like that freedom while still being able to enjoy the viewing domes in my habitat. Now, one thing I do recommend when placing these viewing domes is to also give them a name. Especially when playing with management turned on, it will be nice to see what animals your guests have seen instead of all these plain viewing dome messages. Like, it's pretty easy to manage all the viewing dome names via the audio visual tab and then go into the cameras tab in your zoo management overview. And just by clicking this little icon, you right away jump to that viewing dome. You can change the name there, and then you can even right away jump to the habitat. So in case you didn't have a name yet for the habitat, you can also change it pretty quickly from here as well. Now keep in mind, the viewing domes will also have a cleanliness level, so your caretakers will also have to clean them every once in a while when they become too dirty. So yeah, your caretakers will have an extra job to do from now on. So these were pretty much all tips and tricks I'm able to give you so far regarding placing these viewing domes and their entrance. And now just click the enter camera view yourself and enjoy the view of your animals in a new way. And I did hear that there are some animals in the game that have some cute animations with the viewing domes, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to spot them yet or know what animals this includes. So I would love to know from you guys, when you have been playing around with these viewing domes, what animals you have seen interacting with these domes. Please do let us all know in the comments down below so we all know what to look out for. I really do hope this tutorial was helpful, and as I said, if you'd like to see more Planet Zoo tutorials, I got a whole playlist for you to discover. Leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe of course if you haven't already. And yeah, I just really do hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye guys!